I'm Christine Lisi. This just in, Tiger Woods makes it official. He'll begin his 2015 season at the Phoenix Open at the end of this month. He also committed to playing in next month's Farmers Open. Today is a travel day for Oregon and Ohio State as they make their way to Texas for the national championship game. Most of the attention to this point has gone to the quarterbacks, but running back Ezekiel Elliott could be a difference maker for Ohio State at Cowboys Stadium, according to ESPN analyst Mac Brown.
He's allowed the quarterbacks to use play action. He's allowed the quarterback to be the secondary runner because he's such a great player. So as much as we talk about quarterbacks, I think Ezekiel Elliott may be the key to this football game for Ohio State.
Oregon OSU in the national championship game Monday, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Radio. Texas A&M quarterback Kenny Hill has asked for his release, is expected to transfer. NFL Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers, injured calf, limited yesterday to the team practice periods. His mobility looked good, according to Coach Mike McCarthy. Rodgers expected to play in Sunday's playoff game at home versus the Cowboys.
Sports Center is brought to you by H&R Block. It's refund season. Come into your local H&R Block office and let our experienced tax professionals help you get every dollar you deserve. Get your billions back, America.
You're listening to the Sports Fix.
Welcome back to the Sports Fix, live across the Sports Fix Radio Network as we roll on here. J-Rock with you. Welcome back in, you guys. Getting ready in just a few moments. We're going to be joined by the BSK Kendall Lewis, and looking forward to having him join us. Thanks to the sportswriter extraordinaire, Jonathan Knight. As always, good time. It's been a couple of weeks since we've had JK here with us, and as you can hear, he's just a ball full of optimism for Cleveland sports here to start the new year. I don't think spring training can come fast enough for JK, and I hear him on the Browns. As you know, we all are in that boat. Cavaliers, I do think still. Don't let what I'm going to say next fool you here, because while I will go so far as to say I believe David Blatt has been bought some time, I will say that. I'm not going to go as far as JK. Now, I thought David Blatt was a dead man walking a week and a half ago, and I'm not going to say anything changes as far as the final destination, because it doesn't matter who else's respect you gain. He's got to make sure that him and the player that matters get on the same page most. But I mentioned it yesterday, and we're going to get more into it. But, I will say that time was bought, and you really do need to now take a step back on the Cavaliers differently than we're talking about the other situation, and give time to reassemble, reevaluate, re-see how things come together. I thought that was part of the timing of what David Griffin did. It wasn't just making a move. He could have waited a few more days, a week or two. He had a little bit of flexibility, but it didn't just make the move that you needed to make on the court, but it eases everybody back, hopefully, off of the whole deal and off of Coach Blatt, and gives him some time to try to get the respect of what he needs to do, as well as get himself figured out here. I mean, I thought it was key for buying some breathing room. So I'm not going to go off the deep end like JK did just yet, but it doesn't change a lot of things until they end up changed. We'll talk about all of that. We're talking Browns, Buckeyes, Cavs. My man Kendall Lewis going to join us. The BSK next. You keep the conversation rolling on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/The Sports Fix. Tweet with us at The Sports Fix CLE. Of course, email us, thesportsfix@AOL.com. I'm going to the phone. It's been a couple of weeks back from the holidays. Kendall Lewis, the BSK on the hotline. Kendall, my man, how you doing?
How you doing, man? How are you?
Hey, I'm all right. Happy New Year to you. How were your holidays and your New Year and all of that stuff?
Yeah, everything is status quo. Every day is the same for me.
Everything is status quo. Come on, man. It's Cleveland. Why you got to say that with everything that's happening with the Browns? Of course it's status quo. We can see that here as usual. But, man, I don't know where you want to go. We got all kinds of places we can go. You got the good, the bad, the ugly here. Which fork in the road would you like to start with, my friend?
It really doesn't matter. I guess the thing that's closest to my fan heart is probably Ohio State on Monday. And I've been saying here recently that it appears to me that this Ohio State game against Oregon is reminiscent of the one in 2009 where everybody was afraid of Oregon. And when Oregon got on the field with Ohio State, there was a difference clearly defined between those two teams. And I have a feeling it'll be the same thing this time. I got a chance to talk to some national media types over the last few days, and as usual, they're spewing their Ohio State hatred. And the reason they spew this Ohio State hate is because Ohio State has been so consistently excellent for the last 60 years. And so anytime you get a powerful, malevolent force that runs through every single field that they're given, they're not going to be the favorites. They're not going to be everybody's darling like they are for us here in Ohio. And so that's the reason why ESPN loves them and we love them, but the nation as a whole, especially in the SEC, cannot stand Ohio State. And that's understandable for me. But, I do believe that Ohio State will acquit themselves well on Monday night, maybe to the tune of a national championship, and it will be a sight for sore eyes as far as I'm concerned.
I'll tell you what, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Bucs with you because I know that at times, you're a fan. You're like me a lot with the style of football that you like, and not the biggest one to warm up to necessarily the spread and the Urban Meyer offense and the different things. But I noticed you tweeted the other day when you were rewatching the Alabama game and going, man, I'm rewatching this and seeing Ohio State just dominate, because when you look past that, there's a lot of the good, like the style that we like, the smash mouth, the physicality, the different things defensively that you like from this Buckeyes team. But I noticed you tweeting out a little warming up there to the Buckeyes as you watched, especially when you appreciate what they did at the end in the Big Ten title game there, such a smash mouth performance, and then to follow it up with Alabama. But warming up on you a little bit there, huh, BSK?
Well, that's the reason why I'm not a fan. When you're a fan, your opinions are colored by your love. If you're a fan of the Cavs, for example, your opinions are covered by the love of, wine and gold, all things wine and gold. So you can't see how fragile Verajao and Kyrie Irving are. So that you will argue that Kyrie Irving is as good as Damian Lillard. That you will argue that LeBron James that we have is the same LeBron James that we've had 4 years. Like you would argue that Johnny Manziel is the savior of the Cleveland Browns, and he's going to usher in an entirely new way of playing quarterback in the NFL. Like you see the Indians going all the way to the World Series and winning it with an inferior roster to at least 10 teams in baseball. That's what fandom does for you. And so, unfortunately for me, or fortunately, because Ohio State is the only thing that I keep for myself as a professional broadcaster, as a guy who's been paid by somebody else for my opinions, it's the only thing I've kept for myself as a fan. That's the only thing I will keep. The reason being is Ohio State can be good, they can be bad, they can be up, they can be down, they can be stocked full of All-Americans, or they can not have any pro prospects at all. I'm going to love the Scarlet and Gray. I'm going to love Script, Ohio. I'm going to love Ohio Stadium, Woody Hayes, Tom Cousineau, that litany of great football players. It doesn't change. So that's the thing I keep for myself as a fan. And so I think it's a combination. I don't really like this Frank Perry, this deceptive football. I don't like that. My style of football that I played, is that I like to play, that I like to see played, is I tell you what, you get your 11, I'm going to get my 11, and we're going to line up and smash you into the ground. That's how I grew up playing it. That's how I played it at an older level. And so even if I play Madden, that's how I play it. That's how I play it on college football when it's out. I gravitate toward that. But Urban Meyer's football, as you said, has the elements of that old style football. And another thing I've recently come to the conclusion of, although I didn't tweet this, is that it really actually is smash mouth football, but it's disguised in another way. Instead of, I don't know, running for a 3-yard gain, they'll throw a bubble screen, which is probably a short yardage design play, but if the right people are involved and if the execution is crisp, it can be a 40-yard, 50-yard, 80-yard touchdown play in the hands of a player who has those skills. So, yeah, I'm warming up to his style because he wins. He's lost what? One regular season game. Hasn't lost a Big Ten game yet. I have to warm up to it because it's landed Ohio State right where they want to be in the national championship game and ultimate relevance in college football.
You got that right, man. And I've been saying the one thing when people say, oh, these offenses, they're so similar. I say I disagree, and I think that's why the Buckeyes are going to win this game. Looking at it completely objectively is I think that Oregon's got one tempo, and that's what they do. They have a way of playing. Ohio State can go up and down. They can go high tempo, but they'll pound you. And they've got Ezekiel Elliott, who everybody sleeps on, and they've got a up and down style. They can slow it down, then speed it up. Or they'll come to the line really fast and then sit there for 20, 25 seconds. You know what I mean? They'll speed it up and slow it down. So I think their ability to control the physicality and the pace makes the difference because they'll be able to control the game instead of just running like a chicken with their head cut off trying to keep up with Oregon the whole game.
Well, I think the difference is between the two offenses, they have a lot of the same characteristics. They have a lot of the same types of people inside their offenses. But I think the difference is, and I'll admit this is going to be hard for Ohio State, if they can't handle the pitch, the pace, the variation, the power, the up and down, the undulation of that one speed, they're going to get steamrolled. Because what that does is, if Oregon scores with that offense, then that puts the pressure on your offense to score. Now, I've looked at Oregon. Oregon is not a great defensive team. They're good. They're not great. They're missing their all-world cornerback, who makes a tremendous difference. Their linebackers are kind of pedestrian. Their defensive linemen, they got a couple of edge rushers, but it's nothing to be afraid of. If Ohio State can shoot their regular on offense, then what this game comes down to is a shootout at the highest level. I'm talking, 52-51, that kind of thing. But here's the thing. If Ohio State cannot get guys on the ground, get Oregon off the field on third down, it's going to be a long day because the pace accumulates. And if their offense can't stay on the field, then that accumulation is right on the back of the defense. And the defense wears down. Once the defense wears down, they have you at their mercy, and they'll just run you into the ground. I've seen that. That pace scared me the most when I watched them handle a great, great quarterback prospect like Jameis Winston. They forced them into decisions and miscues that, they could come back on against lesser teams. Lesser teams without the quarterback and the speed overall that they have. And let me say, Marcus Mariota is good. He's not the best I've ever seen. He's not the pro prospect that Jameis Winston is. Not even close. Jameis Winston is Andrew Luck with character issues. All right? If Andrew Luck is the best quarterback that people